All rise and shout. It's time for what's trending on draft day.
Cole with a house call. Touchdown Cougars.
He tested through the roof, and he's one player that has a significant amount of buzz.
Here's their best player, Puka Nacua, with the great footwork.
Let's go. Good, better, best. And we are referencing a great general conference talk from the great Elder Dieter F. Uchtdorf when we say good, better,
My favorite
best.
German apostle of all time.
How does it relate to the NFL draft and the big three for BYU football as they push through the weekend? Jarom, what would good, better, and best look like for BYU football as a whole in this year's 2023 NFL draft?
Good is 3 picks. Better is 3 picks and, two of those in the top 4 rounds probably.
Okay.
And then best would be 2 in the top 3 rounds with probably 4 overall picks if we're going super ambitious. So let's just talk best. So Blake Freeland in the end of the 2nd round, Jaron Hall in the 3rd, Puka in the 5th, and Caleb Hayes sneaking in the 7th. That would be the realistic, what feels like best case scenario for BYU football. If there's, an off-the-board option here of disappointing or bad, it'd be that there aren't 3 picks. It's not bad to only have 2 picks, but we're certainly expecting 3, so that would be disappointing.
Yeah, we've seen Puka Nacua in the 7th round. What if he slid off the board?
He could be off the board.
That'd be super disappointing.
That is a possibility given some of the injuries and, unfortunately, a concussion in the Senior Bowl. I think if Puka plays in the Senior Bowl fully that week, he's drafted for sure. He still may be drafted, no problem. But we'll see what that looks like. But that's what best looks like to me. But I don't want to just talk draft because free agency matters. Of the 14 dudes in the NFL from BYU right now, 6 were undrafted, including Taysom Hill, including Daniel Sorensen, who have been stalwarts for 5+ years in the league. So I think about the guys that may not be drafted, and let's say one of the big 3 don't. Okay, they are going to get picked up by somebody, and hopefully they stick. Caleb Hayes, probably undrafted, maybe he sneaks in, but he is a guy that could stay in the league, a la Michael Davis, another undrafted guy who has been a starter and has a big contract and everything. Harris LaChance, Peyton Wilgar, Gunnar Romney.
Christopher Brooks.
Can some of these other guys stick in a way that is meaningful? The draft is awesome, don't get me wrong, but half the league is undrafted. We would be remiss if we ignored that piece of this puzzle.
Typically, if you're taken somewhere in the first 5 rounds, let's use Tyler Algier as a case study. And you're a skill player. If you're taken in the first 5 rounds, pretty good shot. At worst, you're going to be on a practice squad on the team that drafted you. The 6th and 7th rounds, it's a total wild card. I mean, you absolutely have to just go and earn your spot. And you're competing. The margin is so thin between guys taken in the 6th and 7th rounds and those priority free agent signings. Yeah. There's just no guarantee if it's that late.
Kyrus Tonga, credit to him, 7th round pick who was stuck in the league.
Dax Milne.
Awesome.
Same scenario.
Dax Milne.
Chris Wilcox.
That 20, yes. And Chris, hasn't played in games to the same degree, but he is still in the league. He is with the Steelers, this spring, which is great.
For me, the good draft would be what the expectation is right now, which is just 3 players taken. Mm-hmm. I'm with you. Just simply, it doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when, which team you go to. If BYU has 3 draft picks, awesome. That's 3 more guys that have been specifically selected in the most prestigious draft of any American sport. And it's just 3 more guys for us to pay attention to in the league. BYU's already got a nice core of guys in the league making an impact and a difference. Now we add 3 more. Better. Yeah, now we start to look at the rounds that guys are taken in. I would love for Blake Freeland to, at worst, be drafted in the 3rd round. So better draft would probably be Blake Freeland's taken early 3rd round. Jaron Hall goes by at least the 5th round, and Puka Nacua just gets drafted. Mm-hmm. Then the best, and I'm trying to bring in some type of realism here of something that could actually happen, and that is maybe both Blake Freeland and Jaron Hall are drafted before the 4th round, and then Puka Nacua is a 6th round pick, and Caleb Hayes sneaks in the 7th round with that blazing 40 time and just his off-the-chart metrics from BYU's Pro Day. And the Cougars have 4 draft picks. But, yeah, it's way bigger than that. Christopher Brooks is a guy that I feel like is going to be in a scenario where he has several options. I don't think he's going to be picked, but he'll have several options.
Yes, he is higher on boards than we probably think. And he had a better season than we think. I think we've kind of crapped on his season a little more than is deserved. He averaged 6 yards a carry. He had like 800 yards. He missed a couple games. Had a hamstring, had an ankle.
Yeah, dealt with some injuries.
This dude was going to have a 1,000-yard season. Like, he had a good season. Was he as good on third and short as we wanted? Did it cost BYU in a couple of games? Yes. But he had a good season. And physically, the scouts are probably drooling over this dude.
Look at him.
He looks like a superhero. He really does. He may be cast in a DC movie soon. We don't know that. Hopefully DC starts bringing it with The Flash and Blue Beetle, but we'll see. But there are guys, and there are talent. There is talent in BYU football right now that wasn't as kind of deep as it was, say, a decade ago. I recall at some point feeling like the NFL draft didn't matter at one point with BYU football, and that's where I started to have my thing where I'd say, well, if it's inconvenient, we can't just ignore it. And the NFL draft is a thing that is a highlight of BYU football now each year, where we go, how many picks are you going to have? And it's validating. You can have like a decent program with few draft picks, but obviously more picks means better players, more wins, more ingredients, Papa John's. Like, let's get all of this. It matters. Kalani Sitake has said it does matter. It's their job to help these guys get in a position to make the NFL. And I would love to see BYU get to the 20 mark of NFL guys in the next couple of years.
They're close.
14, hopefully a couple of these guys stick, like Chris Wilcox and so on. Zane Anderson and Matt Bushman, kind of practice squad flirting with the 53 kind of guys. Yes, practice squad works because you're going to play in a game. Kai Nakua has been around, right, with the Jets and Niners and so on. And then you have the guys. Like, you want Zach Wilson to get a chance to start again. You want Jaron Hall to get a chance to start in the next 2 to 3 years. You want Blake Freeland to be a starting tackle. Or maybe he's a guard, like Brady Christensen moved to left guard for the Panthers. This is the way, and it's with O-line, specifically left tackle. It's with quarterback right now. We expect Keaton Slovis and Kingsley Suamataia to be in the mix next year, perhaps Aiden Robbins. Yes, the skilled positions and whatever else we call the other positions, because we shouldn't call them unskilled. They're certainly skilled in their position. But this is the culmination of some of the best talent that BYU football has gathered over the last couple of decades. You can quantify it in the NFL, undrafted free agents, and obviously in the draft.
Jarom, I remember not too long ago on this show when we were here saying, on a different desk no less, in a different part of the studio, but still saying, gosh, I hope BYU just has a guy drafted every year. Just one guy drafted every year. Because there were years that were coming and going and nobody was being drafted.
Yep.
It felt like BYU was getting one guy drafted every couple of years. And we were like, man, it'd be nice to have like one draft pick per year. Now we're looking at a scenario where BYU had 5 draft picks in 2020. They capitalized on the COVID season, no doubt. Tyler Algier was the lone draft pick last year, but he burst onto the scene and was a difference maker. And now we're looking at 3 this year, maybe 4. And as of last week, I went through and looked at all of the current statuses of BYU guys in the NFL. I had 13 on active rosters. And then 6 guys on practice squads. Tyson Williams, Zane Anderson, James Empey, Kai Nakua, Matt Bushman, Chris Wilcox. Those 6 plus 13 on active rosters, that's 19. You're talking about getting to the 20 mark. Would the 3 draft picks this year, maybe Caleb Hayes makes a roster, and then a couple of guys that are on practice squads get elevated? It might be this year that BYU has 20 guys actually play on an active roster in an NFL game.
Okay, make it 30 then. In the next
That's the
3
next
years.
step, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Continue to do that. You're a Power 5 program, and you're recruiting at a higher level now. In the transfer portal, we'll talk about this next week. 24/7 Sports says BYU is a top 20 team in the transfer portal right now in terms of who they've gathered.
Fantastic.
Remember how much everyone kind of freaked out when everybody left? Well, you give and you get, and BYU has gotten enough to feel confident not only about this season, but the talent level. Because if we skip ahead to next year, and maybe we'll hit this next week, Kingsley Suamataia, Keaton Slovis,
Connor Pay is a guy that's going to get some attention.
Connor Pay, is Tyler Batty in the mix defensively? Are there
Does
other
BYU
guys
get back in the linebacker game next year, maybe with Max Tooley or Ben Bywater if they're healthy?
Perhaps, right? It's weird because Ben is a junior this year. So, like, he could be here 2 more years.
Like he's been around
forever.
forever.
Ben Bywater could do something that I'm not sure has ever happened, by the way, in BYU history, which is lead the team in tackles all 4 years.
Wow.
He's done it his first 2 years. He did it as a freshman. which is pretty gnarly, of course, because he knows how to tackle because he played rugby. But this is an exciting time in BYU football history because the Cougars are producing picks. And they're not just like random O-linemen over here. It's quarterback and receiver. It's left tackle, which is the premium tackle position among the O-line. I love it. This is a very exciting time.